Get down.
Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Cause I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm about to get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informants informing, that information forming. Important you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focused on scoring. Got your underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the kick rock, skipping the country squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots, ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me Evil Knievel. You leading on the wrong side, living with peasant needles. So lethal, mean Shane Black wanna write a sequel. Cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Either we make up or just break up. And the snake hits, get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up if I don't shake me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle a lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got it, question, pushing me to.
Let me unmute myself. See, I'm all excited. I'm not even talking to y'all. I'm talking to y'all. I'm not talking to y'all. Who does that? This girl. Like I said, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night with Who, me, your girl, Lady Dawn Beware, right here on the Bravo with Sheila network via YouTube, the most amazing network out here in this streaming land. So, as always, thank you for joining us on tonight. Thursday is my favorite night. Why is Thursday my favorite day? Because I get to spend these 60 to 90 minutes with you. And I'm so glad that you don't hesitate to spend your time here with us. So as always, I'm going to ask you to do our three things: like, subscribe, and share. Invite people into this amazing conversation. January was a phenomenal month. I think the highlight was the men's lounge. Got to give it to them. So if you missed it, go back and check it out. Last week we had Meet the Authors and we had a Redeeming Me series, and we kicked off January with what? The ladies' room, of course. So we are back again. We're going to set off every month for the rest of the year. The first Thursday, you get me and my girls, my fellow ladies, the other queens that I've been so graciously to be blessed with in my life. So I want to shout out some people in the house. As always, our number one Bravette Anae is here, as always, on her post. Thank you for joining, Anae. You know we love you. You are irreplaceable, and you are second to none. So thank you for being on tonight. Hey, Lady Novoa, what's good? Welcome on tonight. Thanks for coming in the house. Again, invite somebody, bring a friend. Ladies, get your sister girls in on this good convo tonight. It's going to be amazing. And I see my girl Zinja in the house. Hey, sis. She's going to be on visiting with us soon, too. I'm telling you, y'all, this year is going to be amazing. And I also see none other than my mama, who pushed me out literally and naturally in the person. She's no stranger. She is Mama Rosa, we call her, aka Pastor Rosa. She has her own platform right across the street on the Sheila Ingram Ministry Network. So if you need a good word, go right across the street. The minute you go out of here, you go right across the street. I promise you, you can't miss it. That's where the good word goes down. And that's where you want to be if you need a word of enlightenment, encouragement. We got Pastor Sheila, who is the queen bee of the Bravo with Sheila Network. And we pay homage to her every single week. Why? Because she so graciously yields me this captain's chair to spend this time with you. So Bravo, we love you, Auntie Sheila, Pastor Sheila. and we appreciate this space. And we want to say good evening to those of you who are up in the expensive silent seats, the section where, you know, the exclusives go and sit. We want to invite you to come on down to the comment section. I promise nobody's going to hurt you down here. It's safe. We run a tight ship, so don't worry about it. But come on down and join us in the comment section. We want to be interactive. We want you to express. We want to hear from you and get in this good conversation. So without further ado, again, like, subscribe, and share, because you don't want anybody to miss this good convo. So I'm going to bring up my fellow queens of the ladies' room on tonight. I am excited because we are back once again, and she's no stranger. She is been here the past few months, and she is in the person of Dr. N.D. Brown, my girl. I'm going to bring her up to the stage so that she can greet the good people. Come off your mic and greet the people, sis.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? I kind of forgot today was Thursday. I just forgot it was Thursday. But it's good to be here. It's good to see you guys. I hope your day was amazing. I hope you got everything you needed to get out of it. And I hope y'all in the mood for a little bit of laughter, a little bit of serious talk. Throw your shoes. Don't mind the noise. That's my little bishop in the background doing what he do best, being a bishop. Amen.
That's all right. Let Bishop do his bishopry. That's what we do. Let him do his bishopry. You know, Dr. ND brings it straight, hard, no chaser, and the fire. You know, we might even have a little toxicity tonight. Who knows? Who knows what to expect? But it's always going to be good. It's always going to be good. We have real talk with real resolutions. We always want you to walk away with a gem. And I want to introduce new to the platform, the newest addition to the ladies' room squad, my queen cousin. She is the wife to, if you join the men's lounge, my cousin Angelo Brooks was on. Well, this is his the completion of who he is. In the person of my cousin Maisha Brooks, I'm gonna bring her to the stage. Come on up, cuz. Say hi to the people.
Good evening, ladies. I'm so excited to be here. I really appreciate you guys for having me out. We about to go in. We about to have fun. So you ladies, get ready, get ready, get ready. Let's go.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's we ready to go on tonight.
Ready
Yes,
to go.
ma'am. And thank you, sir. So, fellas, lean in, take some notes, hear what's going on. I promise you it's going to help you to develop better relationship. And you know, here my thing is this: we're not trying to convict nor to convince anyone. We just want to have real conversation and give some real resolutions so that we can improve relationships with one another. But most importantly, the major relationship that we can improve and strengthen is the one that we have with ourselves. So even in these conversations, we are learning, we are growing, and we are evolving. So I'm excited as always. I'm trying to slow myself down because, you know, I get hype, I get excited because, you know, we gonna have some good talk tonight. So we also going to have Lady Deshawn. She's no stranger. Y'all know she come through, our Detroit sister, and she's going to be on with us as soon as possible. So on tonight for the ladies' room, February, I want to say, is the month of love. That's what they say. You know, we also know it's February, before I forget, it's also Black History Month. So salute to everyone in the African American community. And we know that we should be celebrating who we are every day. Okay, every single day, honor who you are and your heritage. And we want to say that. But February is considered the month of love. You know, we base it around Valentine's Day. And this topic that we have tonight was one that we started last year when we had the verses, the ladies' room with the men's versus the men's lounge. And we said, well, when loved right, women glow. Yeah. Laugh indeed. That was some good stuff. If you didn't see that one, I promise you, go back to YouTube and find the verses, because that was some stuff. I ain't gonna say it was some best, but that one, it was going down and quickly. That's about a 6-hour show by itself. I promise you, it would be. But it was good stuff. But this month, I wanted to break it down so that we can get some solid understanding and maybe just some foundation in each space without having the other counterparts, you know. interjection. So it's all about the ladies tonight. So the topic was when loved right, women glow and men grow. So tonight we're talking about when loved right, women glow. You know, people, when sisters, when we get it together and we are when we put on that little extra dress that makes us walk a little, makes straighten your back a little bit, might want to take off the kitten heel and put on the pump or the stiletto, the red bottom, get the good bag out the closet, and do the hair just right, and you walking out the door, just having a feel good kind of day, and someone is saying to you like, sis, you glowing, like what, what's going on, what's happening, and they think it's either a man had to do it or you hit the lotto or any, something amazing had to happen. But sometimes we glow for different reasons. It's not always an outward thing. The glow really comes from the inside, and it's usually it may be based on something that's happened, an experience that we've had, or, an encounter that we've had. So I want to open up first by asking you ladies, when you think of this concept of when loved right, and when we talked about love, I don't think we got past the love part when we did the verses. I don't think we was in the trying to define love. Love is subjective in its meaning. We know, we who are Christian, and while this is not a sole Christian platform because our audience is very vast, but we are Christian. I tell you all the time, I'm a God's girl. So when you get me, you gonna get some God. I'm just saying. I got to stay true to my core. So you're gonna get a little Jesus. You might even get a little song, a little prayer. But in the word, that's right. Come on, Enzi. We all preachers up here. We all preachers. But in the word, it talks about what love is. Love is patient, is kind, is long suffering. Love is God. God is love and love is God. And that's from the biblical standpoint, just to brief it. But love is so many things. But when we experience that, there is a glow that comes about us. So I want to give each of the ladies, I want to ask each of you to jump in and share. When you hear this statement about when loved right, women glow, what does that mean to you, or what does that say to you? Who wants to jump in first?
I'll go first.
All right.
So originally, like you said, there's a glow and a different step that you have when you're loved right. And I think oftentimes, because we're women, that if we're being 100% honest, we're not always loved. We're not always loved for who we are. We're not always loved for what we do, who we represent. But when we are, it's just like a different kind of experience. It's a different air of confidence that you have about yourself. So when I think about the statement in terms of what it means to me and what it looks like for me, it's like when I know internally that I have my peace, when I have that place where I feel loved by those that I'm pouring into, those that are pouring into me, I just have a different air of confidence. I have a different way of thinking, a different mindset, because I know I'm being loved well. I think a lot of it for me, in my experiences, I've had times where I was not loved well. And it started with me. Like, I didn't know what it meant to love myself. I just didn't have a clue, didn't have a clue, didn't have a blueprint. People tell you what that's supposed to look like. But when I finally found it for myself, I said, oh, this is what it means when they say you're glowing. Like, you just have a different air and a different presence about yourself that just exuberates all the things that God is for me.
I feel that. And it's true, because I thought about like when we're pregnant, and people, a lot of times we say, oh, sis, you glowing, because you're pregnant. And why? Because it's something that's in you, that changes your outer exterior. I don't know if I glowed so much when I was pregnant with my son, because he drained me of every vitamin I ever had. So
come on now.
I didn't have a glow. Had a dull shine. I think that's it. I needed some waxing or something. Something wasn't right. Just wasn't happening right. But you made the good point about self-love, and when we talk about when loved right, because that is again, love is so subjective, and it is a key defining what that is about us being loved and then us being loved right. And it does, I believe, all start with self-love, because until you understand how to love yourself, you are going to, number one, accept just about anything that comes your way that you think
Absolutely.
You know, you're gonna try different things to try to fill that void or to make it happen. So we give off um a certain air that just attracts, period. You can tell when someone's loving themselves and when they're not. You know, you can definitely tell in the way that we carry ourselves. I was having a dull shine. I wasn't glowing, but I had I needed some buffing up when I was pregnant. But I love that you said that about,
Me too.
self self
Baby.
love. That's really where it begins. Look, them kids will drain you. But that's another show. I ain't gonna go there because I start fading back. So I don't want to go back today. Come on, sis ND. Come on and share what this statement says and does for you.
Well, first, I want to say that this is not predicated on a man. Let me clear that up quickly, because when you hear the title, somebody's like, oh, they're talking about what a man. You can include a man later, but it's not just about a man. This is about you as the person, you as the woman, you as the individual, not you as the mother, you as the daughter, you as the sister, you as the cousin, you as the co-worker, you as an individual. And I think that, I know that some people got on, are they gonna be talking about husbands? No, we're not talking about husbands, because we were individuals before we became a unit of one. We were individuals, and some of us are still individuals. Some of us are not married. Some of us are waiting to be married. Some of us are in situationships, that's a whole nother conversation.
Come on. Come on.
Some in situationships. Some are in disaster ships. Some are in passing ships. Some are in ships they shouldn't even be in.
Just wrong ships.
Just wrong ships.
Just wrong ships.
Wrong ships. So I want to say that, when a woman is loved, she glows. And I can say, I know what that looks like. I know what it looks like not to be loved and to be dull. I know what it looks like to have partial love and be dull, and at times have a slight buff. Come on here. But I now have experienced what it is to be whole and to be loved. That's a whole different gamut. And I think that we need to understand that there's such a big scope of loving and what glowing looks like. So I definitely just wanted to start off by saying that this is not predicated on you being in a situationship, relationship, or any type of ship. This is about you first as an individual, navigating in that ship if you're not in that ship. And how, when you get to that ship, how you are already who you are, and you're not pretending or looking for that ship that you jumped in to fulfill a space that you should have already filled before you got in that ship.
That's good stuff. Come on, talk about the ships, because a lot of us is sailing in the wrong direction. We on broken pieces. We looking for somebody else's broken pieces to match with our broken pieces, trying to make a whole. And we can't, we will never get anywhere until we become whole. We have some comments. I'm gonna put on my good glasses. I ain't gonna play. Y'all know I ain't gonna do it tonight. I'm gonna act like I know. So Pastor Rosa, Mama Rosa says, Maisha, I love that your first point of reference about you is you and not another person, because it starts with us, and we show others how to love us by how we think of ourselves. And that is the truth. And again, is when loved right. When loved right. Love starts on the inside. It's not an outside job. It's an internal job. And what's loving right for ND may not be the same as to what was loving right for me. What's loving right for each of us is very different. How someone treats you, what we relate to as love is very different, and there's different levels to it. But when we get these things right, and again, the first most important part is to get it right within ourselves, and that's the thing. A lot of us don't want to do the work to get that internal compass set to the right love meter or the right love direction. And that's where we go wrong quite often. And so that was really good. Again, getting back to that self love. Welcome, Pastor Chris, aka the Psalmist Voice. He says you can't love at all if you don't love or heal yourself. Exactly, exactly. And again, like I was saying, it doesn't. We some of us don't want to do that work to take the time, because the reflection is hard. It's hard to look at ourselves in the mirror. It is easy for us to look at other people, but it's hard for us to look at ourselves and get ourselves right. You know, we look at ourselves in the mirror easily when we're all made up. You know, then we can't get out the mirror because we loving what we see. But when we take the makeup off and get down to the core of who we are, we don't spend that much time, and that's the problem. Like, and that's where I believe, again, we're not loving ourselves. Like, you got to learn how to love your flaws and your imperfections. You have to learn how to embrace them. Until you do that, they're forever going to be a hindrance to you really receiving love and giving love wholly. You know, let's see what other comments we have. Okay, Psalmist was saying some are cray ships. Okay, we add the cray ship to the ship list.
We're not going to talk about the cray ships.
We're just gonna put it on the list.
We're trying to get folks delivered. We're not trying to keep them bound. So if they on a cray ship, we pray that after we finish this, that they understand that they can disembark when we get to port.
There you go. But we ain't gonna stay on the cray ship. So we don't even want to go to the cray ship. But some people are there. We can't act like they not, because there's some. Then just says, when a woman is loved right, she glows differently, but she is already glowing from self-love. Exactly. And she should be, and we should be. You know, and I looked up the definition of glow, and it was saying it's giving out steady light without a flame, or someone who is positive and vibrant. It's a steady radiance of light. So, you know, when we think about glowing, what are we giving off? You know, what is resonating from us? What is happening within us? Because whether if something is good on the inside of you, it's going to show on the outside. Just like if something is bad or wrong on the inside, it's still going to show on the outside. You know, and we have to be mindful of how we're representing ourselves as we're going out and about our day. And because how you glow and what you show attracts. So when you're wondering why you getting all these kind of, you know, and all right, I'm just gonna, you know, I'm not gonna correct myself. I'm just gonna say, when you're wondering why you getting all these roughneck hood corner brothers, you gotta wonder, sis, like, what you giving off?
The aftershave, the Coke 45, the little bit of Newport cigarettes is your mascara of choice. I mean, I'm just saying.
Come on now.
I think that.
Come on.
Listen, I mean, we gotta first identify what we're attracting. And we got to be honest that if we're in a repeat cycle, that somewhere along the line, we've yet to identify why we're in the repeat cycle. Because,
Absolutely.
you know, wanting somebody who's a thug, and we need to define what that looks like. Because that looks a little different when you become a believer opposed to you being in the world. But what I do know is that you have to be honest about what it is that you want and what you're looking for. And you can't expect somebody to give you or be something to you that you are not of yourself.
To yourself, yeah.
You can't expect someone to love you and you don't know what loving yourself looks like, because then you're setting them up for failure and you're setting yourself up for consistent disappointment.
That's true. That's so good. That is so good. And it's funny that you say that because, you know, before I got married, when I was dating, I kept dating the same person. It was the same person, different name, different face, but it was the same person over and over again. And I was like, okay, why I keep attracting these dudes? I was young, I was immature. But then at some point, like you said, you got to look at yourself and say, all right, sis, what you got going on till you keep attracting these same kind of men? This same kind of energy. And like you said, it's the energy that we put off, but we don't want to be honest about that. We don't want to be honest about that. It's like, no, I'm good. I know that I'm a good person. I just don't understand. No, you got some evaluating you got to do, because like you said, you attracting these thugs left and right. And I had to do the same thing. I had to do a self-reflection to say, okay, what is it about me that this is the kind of man that's coming into my life? And like you said, when you become a believer, your whole essence of who you are should change. It should show that light when you walk into a room. And I had to figure it out the hard way, for being honest.
Listen, this is what we're here for.
No, you're not the only one, because I had to come to the terms with some stuff in my own reality. And part of that is that I had to face some history. Good evening, Dr. Pippins. So I had to face some history. And the history was his story and not God's story, his story, because I was a repeat offender of his story. Until I can realize that her story, which was my story, and his story kept colliding, and I kept repeating, and it was like I was doing the same chapter. I never got out of the chapter. And once I started to take some time and do the work and started to come to some realization and ask myself the hard questions. Boo boo, what you looking for? Like you keep, I mean, he got money, he can articulate, but he got a personality when it works, when it wants to work. It's like a light switch. It comes on, it cuts off. And I think that we get to, and then we get here. I feel me turning the corner. I feel it. Then we get saved, and some of us get stupid.
True.
I feel it in the pit of my stomach. I promise I feel it in the pit of my stomach. I'm not, I say every week, if Dawn don't have me come back, it's all right. Because I always say something I know somewhere along the lines is going to offend some people. But I believe that at once.
He's always coming back.
I know that women, us as women, because I can talk from me, broken in church, and then I have the church telling me what my husband or what a mate is supposed to look like based on church principles, and I'm coming in broken with this mindset of what he's supposed to look like based on the church principles and criteria and standards. So I think that what we need to face is that Christianity has probably the highest divorce rate than we know. Because it does. And I think that because we don't take the time and we lie and we put ourselves in positions, but we don't take the time to get to know who we are, but we don't take the time to discover what God's love looks like for us.
That's good. True.
Because God's love for us looks different for us, because God meets us where we are to bring us where he is, opposed to us meeting somebody where we are and figuring that that's the way we're supposed to stay. And we date and we marry on the false pretense that the individual is going to stay the same, not facing the reality that this person is going to change, and so are you. But we're supposed to change, and we are evolving, because the God that we serve is an ever evolving God, because they say he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. But when you grow in God, God's perspective and what he shows you changes. So what may have worked for you in the beginning doesn't necessarily work for you when you become a little bit more mature. And once you've gained some momentum, what worked for you in the beginning stage, it doesn't normally fit you anymore. And at some point, there should be some level of different glowing. You should have a dull glow. You should have a glow that that's off and on. And then there should be a glow that you don't see, but everybody else around you sees it radiant, because you've gotten to a place where you start to understand the dynamics of what love looks like, but not from human perspective, but from God's perspective. And this way, when somebody lets you down, you're not mad, because you understand that they may not have understand the rules and regulations that come with loving you. So you're not disappointed in them. You let them go and you keep it moving.
Come on.
Well, that's
good. That's good.
I want to just, first of all, I want to greet some people. Welcome, everybody. It is Thursday night with me, your girl, Lady Dawn B, and we are where? In the ladies' room. We're on the Bravo with Sheila Network. So please continue to like, subscribe, and share. It is going down in the house. We are talking about when loved right, women glow. We are breaking it down from our verses that we had last year. So want to say good evening to let's see who we got here. Disciple Spencer, to Katrina Allen. All right, just already shouted out Pastor Chris, but hello again. To Natasha Bibbins. I'm missing it too. Vaughn Eric, hey bro, blessings to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And to Catrice Allen, thank you all for joining. Continue to like, subscribe, and share. Bring somebody into this platform. And listen, y'all add your comments into the comment section. We will read them. We will expound them. We will share. We all want to be in this conversation because we all want to learn how to glow up and get better. I want to help buff my sister up. I want to help to push my sister up. I want to help my sister to shine as bright as she possibly can while I'm doing the same. Because guess what? I don't have to let her light don't have to dim in order for mine to shine. It don't. You know, and that's one thing we as women have to really learn, is that we're not meant to outshine each other. We are not competition. We are compliments to one another. You know, I can compliment a woman and tell my sisters, I call them, hey, beautiful, hey, gorgeous, hey, fabulous. Why? Because guess what? You may not have heard that today. You could be having your worst day, but you still need to know that even on your worst day, you're still beautiful. Your beauty has nothing to do with the kind of day you're having. It has all to do with who you are. You know, and that's a part of loving each other and being loved right. You don't know how that will make the difference in someone's day. And when you keep hearing it, you know, if you hadn't heard it, you know, on that day when you feeling your worst, when, you know, realistically you get that pimple or that breakout where, you know, you just not feeling, you know, it's the bad hair day that just keeps getting worse, you know, when you just not feeling internally your best, and we are able to compliment one another. You know, that's a part of us loving ourselves right. And we have to look in the mirror and begin to love ourselves right. I wanted to just jump back for a moment and say, because you made a point about how when, you know, you were dating the same person in different faces. And I can definitely attest to that. I could not understand. I was the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Figuring, okay, so this one is chocolate and 5'9". All right, so this one's gonna be mocha and 6'2". All right, so now this one's gonna be vanilla and 6'1". What the world? It's still just all wrong. I said, well, God, what's happening? I had the I'm a good person conversation with myself. But the truth is, you could be a good person and still broken. You could be a good person and still troubled. You could be a good person and still struggling. You could be a good person and still unbalanced. You could be a good person and still have issues. And I had all of these things. God was like, it's not that you are a good person. That's not the problem. It's not whether you're good. It's the other stuff. And then you're good, but what are you good at? Are you good at covering up, you know, the indiscretions that you're having? You know, because we do that. Are you good at avoiding, you know, looking at you, getting to the core of who you are? Are you good at, you know, saying, are you good at deflecting, you know, what the real deal is? You know, are you good at smiling, knowing that inwardly you are in one of the worst places of your life? You know, so we could be good, but we could be good at these things. You know, oh, look at here, Lady Deshawn is in the house and she made it. We're gonna bring her up in a second. But I wanted to say, you know, again, like I had to find out what was going on with me. It took prayer and therapy. I'm just saying, prayer and therapy. No one knew I was going to therapy when I started going to therapy. They found out I was going to therapy when I stopped going to therapy. And it wasn't because I was ashamed of going to therapy. It was because I needed to listen to voices while I was going to therapy, you know, because I needed to find out what's going on with me. I said, no, God, the common denominator in this whole situation is me.
It's me. Mm-hmm.
And until we get to that point, I wasn't loving me right. So my glow was oily. My glow wasn't clear. You know, my glow was real unstable. You know, the potential to glow but it wasn't coming out. But again, it's because of how I thought of myself and what I was looking at, what I was doing within myself. Hey, Lady Deshawn, welcome to the ladies' room. Yes, it's on it, popping out.
Ladies.
Here, I want to read this comment, and then we're gonna get Lady Deshawn in on this convo. I'm so excited. Mama Rosa says self-evaluations are imperative to our emotional, spiritual, mental health, and happiness. Right after my divorce, I asked God, where was my mindset? Now I have to say, I just got a thumb that, just a little right there. I asked God where was my mindset. I didn't even have to ask God where was my mindset, because I knew where my mindset was. I knew where it was. That's just my story. This is her story. My story was I knew where my mindset was. I had to ask God to help me to go get it, because I was not in the right mindset. So I had to ask him, help me go get it so I could be a better me. She said, I took responsibility. So evaluation is imperative. We have, I don't want to say your name wrong, so I'm not even going, I'm just call you Bennett, saying good stuff. I ain't mad at you. I don't want to jack it up. I'm already messing stuff up tonight. We're going to do it again. We said,
I gotta. And then I'm gonna let my sister take it. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna put the plane on the runway, and then you're gonna take it after I take it. All right, sis? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it like that. You said some things, because I'm taking notes. I'm trying to take some notes. You said the issues, the unbalance. I put issues, unbalance. I put stop being available. But when you said deflecting, and you said smiling in the midst of your stuff. And then Mama Rosa came back and said, right after the divorce, I took responsibility. Here's the problem. We deflect. Because when I got divorced, I deflected. Big time. It was his fault. He was a bum. He was a whole bunch of stuff. I know Black Jesus did, so I can't say what I'm really saying, because I gotta be politically correct. But I promise you, I said a lot of stuff. But it wasn't until, and I'm hoping that somebody will understand. It wasn't until some years later that I began to shift my mindset. Everyone is not going to have that aha moment in the midst of chaos, in the midst of pain, and in the midst of self-discovery. Some of that will not come until later on, and some of it might not come at all, which is why we have a lot of angry Black women. And they always assume that because we've accomplished something, we're smart, we got a little bit of something, that we're all angry. No, we're not all angry. We're just probably a little frustrated because you guys don't understand what it took for us to get here, but also what we have to exude to stay here. But I think that one of the things we need to understand about when it comes to deflecting is that we're all guilty of it. And some of us are probably still guilty of deflecting, which is why we can't glow.
That's good.
I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let you go ahead, and I'll come back after these, moments. Amen.
Well, you brought up major good points. Amen and amen. Let the church say. And I think with the deflection piece, it comes in stages. I know for me, as I got more in tune with myself, I stopped deflecting as much. It's that ownership piece, and it took me a long time, and it's a journey. It is a journey to stop, because like, we were saying, you have to start owning, your part in it. You got to start, like, it's not all him. And even if it is him, I said, I think we were on the men's lounge. I forgot what the point was, but I said, I realized that I was 50% of the problem and 100% of the issue. And I was 100% of the issue because, number one, I allowed myself to be in spaces that I knew that I should not have been. And number two, in not just allowing it, I continued to fuel that space. So, a person is only going to do to you what you allow them to do, and because I allowed it, I was the issue, but I was half of the problem because I wasn't in the relationship by myself. So I had to stop denying what was going on, and again, stop deflecting and started facing step by step what was going on with me so that I could be better. It's painful. Growth is painful. It hurts, sometimes, but we got to grow. We can't stay where we are. Hey, Deshawn, you want to jump in, cuz? You want to jump in, Deshawn?
I am catching up to this conversation, but right now, this is good. This is good with deflection and divorce and growth. Can I say that glowing is for grown women? Like, you have to be grown.
Watch
to
your
glow.
voice, ma'am.
Listen,
Watch your
you
voice.
can't glow and be a little girl.
Glowing
You gotta
glowing
put
in
your
for
big girl
girls.
panties on.
Glowing
You know,
in for
put that-
girls. Is that what you said?
3 hooks at the back, maybe 4. You gotta put on your big girl stuff.
Glowing is not a girl thing. Is that what girl?
It's not a little girl thing. It's not a little girl. You just look a little shiny.
I'm write that down.
You're a little girl. You're a little shiny little toy. You don't glow. And the reason I say that is because when you glowing, everybody thinks, oh, she's glowing, and it has to do with a man most of the times, right? Because a man is loving you correctly, or you so in love, and he's sending you through the whirlwind. But honestly, you glow when you went through some things, and you can look yourself in the mirror and say, girl, look at you, because you know where you was at.
So when
the glow comes from within. People will add to your glow. You might shine a little brighter, but the glow comes from you. I don't care who your man is. He could be everything on your list. Okay,
come on.
I don't care who he is. He could come straight down from heaven. What they say? Diamond dip, gold tip, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. But if you haven't done the work on you, if you went down through there by yourself,
come on,
that glow ain't gonna be a glow. It's gonna be kind of like what they call it, like a lightning streak. It's not a real glow.
It's gonna be a flash.
Just a little flash. Just a little flash. That's it. That's
like
it.
the lightning before the storm comes. Just a little.
That's that part. That's it. Because you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm happy with who I am. And that will come with healing. That'll come with when you stop deflecting. That'll come with ownership and accountability. That'll come with just being responsible for you. So many times we want to put the things that we're responsible for on other people, when the reality is you have to be able to take care of you before you can expect anybody to take care of you and give you the things that you need. If you can't give them to yourself, how can you expect them or demand these things from somebody else? There's no way I can expect somebody else to be my peace if I can't have peace by myself. How? Would you even know what peace is if you got it? Because if people are around, how do you know what peace is? You just know that you're having a good time and you like it here. You don't know what peace is at all.
A good time and you like it here?
Yeah, you're having a good time and you like it here. That's not real peace. Peace is when you can sit still by yourself in the silence, and that's hard. That's hard. To sit there and say, all right, it's just me. Come on, self, let's do some work. Let's talk. We did this yesterday and I don't like the way it felt. Or you said this, and why did you say that? After my divorce, here's the funny part. I thought I had it all together when the process started. When I left, my mind was made up. I don't want to be here anymore. It ain't you. It's me. I know it's part of my fault. You're not a bad guy. You just ain't for me. You're going to be a great husband for somebody else. Newsflash. That was a different type of deflecting. That was me portraying to be healed, putting on the face like I'm okay. And then when things came down to it and I had to sit in the silence by myself and it was just me and God, baby, that's when the Lord started to tear things apart. When I had to really look at me and I was really sitting in a room crying because I didn't like who I was. I didn't like the darkness that I had to go through to get to where I was.
Right.
Those moments is when you figure out who you are. And then when you out of that, and you can sit by yourself and you could really analyze why you think the way you think, why you talk the way you talk, why you respond to people the way you do and allow them to do the things that they do. That's when you can start to see the glow on the other side of that.
Come on, cuz. Come on, add in.
Listen, when she say you got to sit by yourself, It's the truth. I mean, at the end of the day, how, a lot of times, like you said, we deflect. We expect people to tell us who we are. We expect people to come in and say, oh, well, you got a bad attitude. You should know you have a bad attitude. You should know what triggers you. You should know the time that you spend with yourself to be able to say, you know what, I can't go into them type of hours because it gets me off edge. I'm real negative when I go here or when I'm with this person. But how you know that when you don't spend that time with yourself? Like she said, you want to spend time with other people, you want to have a good time, but you don't want to be honest with who you are. And it takes a lot of self-evaluation, stripping. Listen. After that right there, she ain't never lied. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you really have to take time to just look in the mirror and be like, look, God, this is not who I want to be, And a lot of us don't want to be honest about that. A lot of us, we want to be good, and oftentimes we are good, but we don't want to focus in on the things that make us not positive women, that make us look bad, that make us look bitter, that make us look angry. Well, you are angry because you hadn't dealt with the hurt that was caused by whomever, whether it's a job, a man, whoever, years ago. But you come and sit and say, well, they did this and they did that to me. Okay, but what did you contribute to that? To have that mindset? What did you contribute to have that broken heart? You have to own up to some responsibility as well. It's not just everybody else around you and woe is me. Like she said, child, listen, them big girl panties.
Right. You got to get those, and we have to stop trying to find, again, in this whole deflection. It's funny. I love when the conversation, like we get a bullet point and you get into the root of the matter, part of the pieces, because this is what we want to do, help break up that foul foundation so that we can get to the real core, because when you get to the real core of who you are, that's where your glow is. But we have to stop finding or trying to find new ways to do old things. We have to that's how you get out of the cycle that we end up in, because like I said, we doing the same spirit, but different faces. You're trying the same, ice cream is just different flavors. If you're going to give it up, you have to give it up, because if it's not good for you, it's never going to be good for you. So we have to stop trying to find new ways to do the old things that are not conducive to us, that are not pushing us forward to get to our glow, because what you give off attracts. I don't care what it is, it attracts. So it's, what are you trying to attract? Who are you trying to attract? And most importantly, I really believe you have to learn to attract yourself, be attracted to you, and I know it may sound strange, or people may not think it doesn't make sense in a sense, but you have to love who you are. You have to like who you are. And when you love and like who you are, other people will see that. And they'll either stay away from you or they will get with you. But it ain't going to be no lukewarm in between, because you loving who you are, number one, you are not going to allow certain things in your space, to begin with. You are not going to allow certain people to be in your ear, and you're going to be more wise about how you operate. And that all gets down to a part of loving yourself right, so you can get to this glow part. Yeah, like you said, we know, the topic though is going to be about, the man and how they do this and make you feel this way and make you feel, no, sis, this is about us. This is a ladies' room. We're talking about us. Men may add to buffing and shining, but your glow is solely up to you.
I like that, buffing and shining.
Hey, listen. They be out there buffing and shining their cars, right? But why? Because the paint job is already done. You know what I'm saying? It was already shiny when they bought it. That's what caught their eye, that glimmer on the lot. You know what I'm saying? They see the sun glistening off the beam or the corner of that car. They're like, yo, that's the one right there. That's how they think. That's how, we have to be just as polished and just as shine, just as polished. And when a man comes along, he's not being your glow. but he's gonna buff it and shine it and make sure that you still looking just as pretty and just as together, and just as beautiful, because you're a reflection and you're a representation of him. That's when he comes into your life. But before that, you got to have your own glow. Come on, Doc. I see you. She's stirring over there.
Stirring hard too. You see her face? Come on, sis.
When you said sit with yourself, I think one of the biggest problems is that we don't know how to do that. We don't, because we have been trained and we've been cultivated to hold on one second. I got a mini crisis. I'll be right.
All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna jump in. So part of the problem is we don't sit with ourselves because we've been trained and cultivated that as a woman, you should be a quote unquote social butterfly, that people are supposed to like you, that you're supposed to be able to get along with anybody in any room and dance the room, like in any setting. So we get comfortable with people being around us, and it's all the time. And you start to, and this even goes into why some of us don't know who we are, because we put on these faces to be in these different rooms and different spaces, and then you start to like things that you don't like. It's kind of like they talk about relationships. Oh, he likes eggs, I like eggs too. Girl, you ain't never ate an egg in your life, but now you like eggs because of him. Okay, right. So now you're joining the social group with this group of elite women. They all like to drink champagne. You know champagne give you headaches, but yet you drink it anyway just to be in the in crowd, be in the in circle. So now you don't know who you are, what you like, and the deflecting it's not necessarily that you're intentionally deflecting, but you don't know what you like. You don't know who you are. So you don't know how to sit by yourself because it's uncomfortable for you, because you don't know the person that you're sitting with and the things that your, we're gonna call it intuition, is telling you. Your conscious is in your ear speaking to you. The Holy Spirit is trying to tell you it's time to figure out who you are, and you don't know who this voice is because there's always so much noise around. And you're just uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's good. That's so good, because here's my question. For those of us who have experienced it, what is it like to not know who you are? Oftentimes it's like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like. I don't, and it's like we're picking apart and we're using social media and we're using other women to glean off of, which, like you said, you got to be mindful of who you have in your ear, the environments that you're in, because how else are you going to define who you are unless you do the work to spend time with yourself? Like you said, you don't even like some of those things. But what do we do? What is the instruction? What is the blueprint for those who don't give time to want to get to know themselves? There are a lot of people out there that don't even give time to want to know who they are. They're just automatically going with the flow of what other people expect them to be. And I think oftentimes there's so many people that's stuck in that cycle to where I just don't know who I am, but this is what's happening. This is what's popular. I'm just going to go with it.
And that's true. That's true. I didn't know that I didn't know myself until I was by myself. And I think for a lot of women, you don't know that you don't know who you are, because we're going through our late teens, our 20s, even early 30s, and we're living life, and we're just, going with the flow. We doing the things, we grinding, we got the job, we got social life, and we don't know that we don't know who we are until something shakes your world. Because it wasn't until my world was turned upside down, it wasn't until I got divorced and I literally had to pick up the pieces and figure things out on my own, that I was like, why am I going about this? I don't even like this. Like, he ain't here. And then that made me sit by myself. It made me pull me back together. Earlier, Dawn said, Mama Rosa said that she had to ask God, what was her mind, or where her mind was. And that wasn't a question. I was clean out of my mind, because I realized I didn't know who I was. I didn't really want to live. it was kind of a life or death thing, spiritually, not physically, but spiritually. My light was dim, and I could feel the life being sucked out of me. So it was at the point where I had nothing left. And when you have nothing left and you really just do not know who you are, and you're just kind of coasting along, and then everything stops, it's like you stop abruptly and a glass shatters. You can't put the pieces back together. There are too many small pieces. So you got to get a new glass. You got to start over. And a lot of us don't know we need that halt. We need that glass to drop to figure out who we are, because everything looks good. Everything is cool. I got a good job. I got a good man. Family is cool. I got good friends. Got a little bit of money in my pocket. I'm traveling. You doing all the things that you say you want to do. And then something happens and it's like, I don't know who I am. You look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, who is this? You can't look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
You don't like what you see. I don't care how pretty it is, how long the weave is, the lashes, makeup, full face. It's like, I don't like who I am.
Right. Yeah. I want to pause to read some of the comments that, people are making. And please continue to like, subscribe, and share if you're enjoying this conversation about when loved right, women glow. We want to make sure that we are glowing properly. Base knowledge says some queens have the attitude having it her way. There are a lot of us that want it that's the attitude and the vibe that we give off, and that is not when we have those kind of attitudes, we limit ourselves and we cut other people off, because nobody wants to deal with anybody who has that attitude of always wanting to have it their way. Because that there's no room for compromise. That's self-centered and selfish, and so that glow sis needs some stripping, when we have that kind of attitude. That's what we need to strip. Disciple Spencer says we don't have the tools to sit with ourselves. True, that's a good point. Some people don't, and truly, I think the tool with sitting with ourselves is simply, we just have to do it. It's never going to be easy. We think there always has to be something going on. Some of us struggle with silence, but yet we hate a whole bunch of noise. So it's like, which, what I'm saying? Like, which do you want? Either you want the chaos or you want the peace. I don't want to say there's no such thing as like a little ruckus. You know what I'm saying? It's either ruckus or it's not. And the first tool of sitting with yourself, I think, is acknowledging the fact that you need to sit with yourself, because that right there, it helps you're identifying that there's a problem, that there's too many outside voices and influences, that I need to get to a place with just me for a minute, that I got to shut everybody else down and just take a moment for me. And the more you do that, the easier it will become for you to get to a place of actually doing it. But the first thing is acknowledging that that's what you need. Mama Rosa, my mama, y'all, she says, and men cannot get offended by women saying they don't manifest our glow because they're looking for a woman to be what they need upon meeting them. So we have to already be our whole self. That's a great point, Mom. She's saying, men don't be mad. Okay. When you meet a woman who is very confident about who she is, and I know sometimes we get into this independent woman mode, and, men have a problem with women who are in the independent space, but you have to understand, this is who I am. I'm coming equipped and I'm coming built. So you don't want the chick or the lady, the woman, the female who's broke and needy and, struggling and wanting to be in your pocket. You don't want the gold digger, then you don't want that woman. But then you come across the woman who is independent, who is self-sufficient, who is put together, and there's still a problem. So it has to be that you have to find that happy medium where men, you are not upset again and offended by a woman who has it together, who knows who she is, and she's walking in her own strength and in her own glow. She's going to add to your life, not take away from it. I just want to read some of the comments. Don't want anybody to, go unrecognized. Landon Price says, sisters talk till we understand. Disciple Spencer says it's scary. Base knowledge said that's the thing. Some women don't want to do the work, or
No, no,
they don't
no.
know
No,
how.
no, no. Let me say this. Let me say this. Let me go back to there about women don't want to do the work. I won't say that women don't want to do the work. I'm going to say that some women don't know how to do the work, just like some men don't know how to do the work.
But he
Because
did. It came.
we have all these entities that are telling us how and should and how we should do and how we should move. We got all these self-help books. We have all these people that are talking to us and that are in our ears. But the truth of the matter is, until you put yourself in a place so you can hear yourself, so you can hear from him, it doesn't matter what it is. So I don't think that that's necessarily true for everything and everyone. I think that we need to understand where we are. There are some people who want to do the work. They just don't know how to start to do the work because we are such a judgmental culture. And we are so, I got all of it together and I have all of the answers. And one of the things that we don't do very well is that we don't love well. We don't extend grace well. We don't understand how to just be there and just listen, and maybe not always give an opinion and just sometimes listening. We always feel that we have to give our insight and try to tell people that they can or what they shouldn't be. And that is not the case in point. It's the same thing with a man. Society tells us that society has told us that our black men are nothing. Our black men will never be nothing. Our black men are only made for prisons, and they're building more prisons to give them 9-digit numbers opposed to them having a social security to change the dynamics of the world. We had a system that is telling us that our children will never be nothing. If you put something in a book, make sure a black person will never read it. We have so many different dynamics and didactics out here. We got to be real clear about the things that we say about our own people, because we are sometimes our own worst critics, but we also the same hangman that we sit up here trying to judge people about. So before we sit there and say that people don't want to do the work, you got to understand the dynamics. And some people really want to, they just don't know how.
And that did come up. That did come back up in the comment behind that one, and said that they don't know how. A lot of us don't know how because we were not taught. A lot of us don't know that, right? And there's a lot of things that we have to learn on our own, But like you said, it takes us getting to that space where it's just us and God, because that's going to be the best teacher for us. We're not always going to have somebody in front of us to show us the way. But we do have to take away that judgmental piece. We do have to take away the I want to say, okay, well, the first word that came to our mind is that self-righteous place when we are dealing with one another, and we have to give people grace. And sometimes we have to give them the grace that that was not extended to us, is when we need to give that grace so that we can grow in these spaces even more. So welcome, everybody. Again, thank you for joining. We are continuing with this conversation. It is good if you are enjoying this topic, when loved right, women glow. We are talking about sisters. We got to get our glow up from the inside. It is not an outside job. It is an inside job. Base knowledge said putting a Band-Aid can't fix a deep wound. She has to cut off negative ears. Psalmist's voice was saying that part, sit yourself down. Yes, we do have to sit ourselves down and get ourselves into the quiet space. Hey, my sister, Dr. Sakina O'Kane, thank you for joining us on tonight. Welcome, welcome. Come on and like, subscribe, and share.
Okay. I done turned the corner again.
Okay, well, hold on. Before you turn the corner again, hold on. Let me just get through the comments, and then we'll give you the space. Give me 1 second. Base knowledge was saying true, agreeing with what was said. Psalmist's voice says, I think it's quite attractive when a woman is in her glow. I'm just saying. All right. Turn the corner, sis. Turn the corner.
So I didn't hear all what you said, but I know me and my Holy Ghost, because I talked to my friend, and my friend always tell me what I need to know so I can say what I need to say so I can be on point, in the same page with y'all. Thank God for my friend. So one of the things I want to just say, going back to, I was trying to say about one of the things that we need to do. is and I said it, grace. Be to be kind and extend grace to ourselves. That is something that I have been talking about for the past 2 years, about telling people when they come to me, and here we go about that part of not knowing how and where to start. And one of the things is that we are our hardest critics. We already have the world judging us. We already have our counterparts judging us. We already have our colleagues judging us. We got our friends judging us. We got strangers that don't even know us judging us. And we kind of, I don't care how solidified and strong you are, there are and there will be times where those things will bother you. They will make you uncomfortable. They'll make you start questioning the very thing that you believe that you're secure and strong in. And in those moments, it is okay to be not okay. And that is something we don't do. It is okay not to be okay. It is okay to have a moment where you have to go back and you have to reassess some things, and you have to figure out where you are at on this playing field. If you even in the right sport that you're supposed to be playing on. And as we started, if you even on the right ship, because sometimes you just go someplace because everybody else is going and everybody else is doing, and that doesn't necessarily make it right for you. It just means that that is where it is, and that's what you have to do. I also want to say that in those moments of not being okay, it is the time for you to start to be kind to yourself. That's part of the healing process, being kind to yourself. And we don't know how to be kind to ourselves. We don't know how. So if you can't be kind, you will never get to the love part. If you cannot be kind, you will never identify the love part. You just won't. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many church banquets you go to. I don't care how many songs you sing. Until you understand what being kind to yourself is, you will never understand what love looks like. And being kind to yourself is knowing that there was a mistake made. Today wasn't perfect. You ain't gonna get it all right. It's gonna be wrong. You wore the wrong shoes with the wrong dress. You ain't do your hair the right way. Your eyebrow makeup was wrong. Your breath was smelling bad that day. You need to get a pedicure. All of those things. Like, I'm serious, because we just get upset about some of the. You wore the wrong suit to the interview. It's not the last interview. You went out on a date with the wrong guy. He's not the last guy. You got a selection of girlfriends that don't love you, respect you, or honor who you are. It's just time to get a new set of girlfriends. You just chose the wrong women because you're in the space that you were in. At that time, they fit the caliber. But you've evolved, which means that it's all right to take the trash out and recycle it for somebody else to use, because that is over. And until we get to the point to understand that we make mistakes, we're going to fall short. We're going to have a bad hair day. We're going to have a bad nail day. Our eyebrows are not always going to be connected, and it ain't always going to lay right. We're going to have bad breath. It just may be bad. It may be a season of discomfort, but that doesn't mean that you lay down and die. That means it's okay for you not to be okay. Extend some grace to yourself. Be kind to yourself and get up and start all over again. And that is what the problem is. We don't want to start over again when we hit a rock. We just want to keep going and figuring that the rock is going to smooth itself out. Now, it might, in the reference, if we were fighting a fight, and we were David and had 5 stones, that smoothing the rock might work. But that is not the case. I'm done.
Well, all right. Well, now, have a Selah moment. Hey, Brooklyn, how you doing, sis? So glad you made it on. But everything that you said is so important and so key, and it is true. You know, we have to learn to be kind to ourselves. We extend grace to so many other people and so many outward things that sometimes I think we empty ourselves out of that, and then we don't know how to extend grace to ourselves, or we don't even have any more grace to extend to ourselves because we don't think that we deserve it, and that is a beginning place for us to learn how to love ourselves so that we can get to the core of who we are and start to glow from the inside out. If you are enjoying this conversation, please like, subscribe, and share. I love it. I hope you're enjoying it too. We keep it real and raw here. And again, and you know what? And this is not an echo chamber. We all happen to be on the same, we're on the same wavelength, we're on the same vibe at the core of things, and we may express it differently, because everybody hears differently. And we are not expecting us to be a echo chamber. We all have different feelings, opinions, and expressions. So this is how we grow. And so I'm saying that to say, I hope everybody is able to pull something out of this conversation that resonates with you, that will help you throughout the week, that will encourage you and push you to go forward and find what makes you glow. Simon says, so who has the ham and cheese this evening, Dr. ND? I'm done. That's what he says when he goes all the way in and goes ham. So yeah, that's what he's saying. She went there. She did that. And she's done. So there is a question. I want to read this comment and I want to get to the questions because I think we have like 1 or 2 more questions to go before we end it for the night. But this is great conversation. I'm so grateful for each of these ladies that come and are lending their voice and their feelings, their opinions, their expertise, and their experience, because we are trying to reach somebody else where you're at or even ahead of where you're going, so that we can be like, hey sis, look, we've been there, like don't do it. Or if you're going to go that way, take this with you. So thank you, ladies. I really do thank you and appreciate you for everything that you do, for every bit of input. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew what I was doing when I picked this group. I keep saying that. I keep saying it. Dr. Sakina O'Kane says, one thing that is important to heal and then glow in order to have any healthy relationship with anyone, not just the opposite sex. Amen. And yes, ma'am. That's the one thing we continue to talk about week after week, is about that personal healing, and it is important. We cannot shy away from that healing. I don't care how much you bandage your wound, at some point, you got to take the Band-Aid off and you have to deal with it so it can really heal for real and for real. So Angelo Brooks, my cousin, what's up, cuz? He says, where do you start as women to glow after being in a dark place and lack of maturity? So, counterpart, cuz, you want to answer that? You want to start with that? That's her compliment, y'all. That's my cousin in love. That's her hubby. So, you want to help him out.
I feel like, with the question in terms of being in a dark place and lack of maturity, I think it's important, like how we're talking about your healing starts with within. Being that we're all believers, one of the first things that you're going to have to, if you are a believer, of course, have a conversation with God first. Coming out of a dark place oftentimes is hard to do without the Father, if that makes sense. Oftentimes we try to do it alone. We try to do it on our own strength. We try to do it on our own standing. We try to do it from the level of immaturity, oftentimes not realizing we need that strength from the Father in order for us to excel past that dark place and be able to glow. And again, just kind of repeating what we've been saying, it starts with yourself. You have to get to a place where, you know what, I don't want to be in this cycle anymore. I don't want to be in this dark place. I want to come out of this. I want more for myself. I want to be able to know what glowing looks like. Because like we've said, some people don't know how to do it. They've never glowed before. They haven't seen it done for themselves, for their mother, for, women before them. So oftentimes, if you don't have that insight, if you don't have that guidance, glean from the Father. Put yourself in situations to where you, like, this platform is women. We're all sharing our different experiences in terms of what that looks like. Surround yourself with a community that's going to build you up out of that dark place. It's going to say, hey, sis, it's okay that you come from this dark place. It's okay that you're not where you're supposed to be, whatever maturity level you're on. At the end of the day, building that community with other women will help build you up out of a dark place. It'll help grow you up in some areas. It'll help build you to where you're coming and knowing what it means to glow.
That was good. That was good.
I'm gonna jump in here.
Okay. Good.
Because your question said, where do you start as women to glow after being in a dark place and lack of maturity? Glowing requires maturity. I don't care if you're at the beginning of the healing process. If you think you need to start a process, that in itself shows maturity, because you are accepting that you have a problem. And there's so many people, I don't care how mature you think you are, how old you are, if you can't accept that there's something wrong and there's something that you need to look into within you, the maturity isn't there. So just the fact that this woman, this young lady, is on the other side of the darkness and saying, hey, there's something more for me. There's something here that I need to deal with. I went through all of this because I allowed it, or I went through this because I did XYZ. Just the fact that they're acknowledging that there's something wrong and there's a process that needs to be started, that in itself shows maturity. And there's so many people that lack that. So I don't necessarily think that having a lack of maturity will get you to a place of glow. That glow comes with the maturity. That there's no acknowledgement of glowing at all, because you don't realize that there's something that's stopping you from having a glow. You think you got it all together. That's the immature part of it. That's the lack of maturity, is thinking that you have everything together and that there's nothing wrong with you and it's everybody else but you. So once you get to the space where you realize, like, hey, I need to do some work on me, or there's something that I need to focus in on, then that in itself shows that there's maturity, and that it may not be as what's a good word? You may not be as grounded or rooted in your maturity. You may be just knocking on the door. You're just knocking on the door. Let's say that for lack of better words. However, the maturity is there. There's room for growth. And that's what the whole glow process is about. It's about the growth in you. So that's my take on it.
All right. Come on, NZ. I'm going to go after you.
So I'm going to talk from the perspective, because we all have an advantage. And that advantage is that we have a relationship with God.
That's where
so our conversation is always going to be different. But can I talk to someone who did not have a relationship with God? Mm-hmm. Because I was she. And my process started before I got to know God, because I just got tired. And as Lady Dawn said, I began to ask the questions, maybe not necessarily the glow part, because I didn't even know what glow was, other than I had to wash my face and put Vaseline on it and make sure it was glistening when I went outside. That's all I knew about glowing, and make sure my elbows and my knees and my ankles were ashy. So I had Vaseline on. That was a glow to me. And that's a glow to I'm sorry. No.
Go ahead, girl. That's a glow. That is a glow. We can't forget that, because it ain't cute at this stage.
Right. And I think that
we shine them elbows and knees now.
Keep in mind that everyone does not understand what glow is, and if glow is even possible, other than just putting on baby oil, as I said. And I think that when we say maturity, everyone is going to believe that where they stand, that they're mature enough to deal with the situation. I think it takes a person who is broken, who does not have an understanding, because maturity is out the window when you're broken. When you want to get fixed, it ain't about maturity. It's about trying to survive. I felt God on that one. I'm sorry. It ain't about it because it had nothing to do with my maturity. When I made the decision that there was something I wanted to change in my life, it was about me wanting to live. And I did not know what living looked like. I knew what existing was, but I did not know what living was.
Mm-hmm.
And because I wanted to live, because I wanted to live and I wanted to live past this pain, is why I pushed. And I didn't know God at that moment. I was trying to figure out who he was. I had heard about him, but I didn't know him. And I think that we need to understand that there are women who want it because they seen it on somebody else, but didn't have the heart or the courage to ask that one that they saw it on what it was that they saw. They only knew that there was something about her that was different. God, I feel you today. And because there was something different, they was on pursuit of what that difference was, but didn't know what the difference was and wasn't sure how to obtain it. But I know for me, and I'm sure that whoever might hear this ain't got nothing to do with maturity. This is about me wanting to live past this moment, live past this pain, live past this situation and the circumstances. There's got to be more than this moment. And that moment meant that I had to figure out where it was coming from, and the source was me. But now I had to find out what was feeding the source in order to get free and detach from it. So I want to say it's a great question, but I wanted to speak from a perspective of somebody who may not know God.
Mm-hmm.
We know God. They don't all know God, but they want to be free. And if we honest, the church nowadays is not giving a true presentation of me going someplace because I want to live, because I'm tired of existing.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. That's good. Thank you. We were heading in the same direction, sis. We're heading in the same direction because, like I said earlier, this is not solely a Christian, channel or program. Although we are all, this is who we are. We are all Christian. We are all in ministry. But we appeal to everyone. And again, I'm a God's girl, so you're always gonna get some God, you're gonna get some Jesus. And if you don't want him, then it's not the place for you, because he's gonna come into every conversation that I have. However, with respect to everyone, because there are, and even those of us who do have God, we're on different levels. Everybody's not in the same place. We haven't had all the same experience. So for me to answer this question, it starts with acknowledging, and we all are kind of saying the same thing. And again, like I said, we're not an echo chamber, but we saying it in the way that our voice speaks, because we reach different people and different people need to hear it in different ways. But the principle is still the same. So even for the unsaved, saved, unsaved, God or not God, you need to first acknowledge that you are more than the dark place that you're in. That has to be the first thing. That's where you start. You have to start. You won't know you have a glow until you acknowledge that you're more. You may not even know what that is, what the glow, you didn't even know how to label it, but you just need to first know that you are more than this place that you're in. You got to know that this dark place is not for you, that you were meant for more than this. This is not where your journey ends. It may be a place you paused, but it's not where you're meant to stay, because that's the fight that you're going to need to pull yourself up. That's the fuel and the adrenaline that you're going to need. That's the mental stamina that you're going to need to keep telling yourself, no matter what I'm seeing before me, I know I'm more than this dark place. No matter what's happening to me, I know I'm more than this situation. So it's that acknowledgement that you are more than the dark place that you are in. And then as far as the lack of maturity, maturity comes with experience. You got to go through, first of all, in order to grow through. If you don't go through it, you'll never grow through it. And as you grow through things, you mature because you learn and you have that experience. Sometimes it may seem like it's trial and error. I don't believe in failures. I just believe that there's like 1,000 ways to try. Like we didn't fail. As long as you learned something from it and you took from it what you needed, you didn't fail, you learned. And when you get up and you start again and you try again, like ND was saying, a lot of us don't want to start again. We don't want to try again. But when you get up and you try again, you're starting from a different position. You're starting from a different place. And again, you're not in that dark place because you know that you're more than that. But you may not even know yet that you are working towards having a glow, working towards getting a glow. And another thing she said, and I echo in this sense, we have mastered, a lot of us have mastered survival. But now is the time where we have to learn living. I didn't realize that for the last, I didn't realize until a while ago, because that was, it's hit my heart, that I had mastered survival for the last 20, 22, even more than that years. I thought I was living because I was existing, because I was going out, because I was with my girls, because I was, my friends. I was still going to get my nails done. I was getting my hair done. I had happy moments. I could still laugh. But I did not realize that I was simply surviving. And that's what I mastered. And when it came time, now it's coming time for me to learn how to live. And I was at a crossroad that I was afraid to step over. And I realized I was afraid to step over into living because it was something that I had never done before in my adult life. It's like, because been so many other things to so many people, and we stop and we pause. And I've shared this before. Like, I put my life on hold so I could raise my son. And with that, it put me in a space where I did not know how to live anymore because I was surviving. I was just trying to make it from day to day. But now it's time to take those steps and not be afraid to find out what living is like. Because sometimes our deficits and our brokenness, it becomes our norm. It becomes our safe place, and it becomes where we're comfortable. Now our discomfort and our pain has become our comfort. And healing and wholeness and living is foreign to us. And we have to learn that. So again, to me, that is the first place that we have to start, is acknowledging that you are more than this dark space that you're in. We have to understand that maturity comes through experience. And we have to understand that you got to go through it to grow through it, so that we can go from mastering survival to learning how to live. So I hope we answered your question, because this has been great. I just want to read some of the comments that we have before we get to our final comments. Angelo, my cousin, says surviving, not thriving. Says facts, cuz. Psalm's voice says the transfer is taking place. Amen. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, sir. Disciple Spencer says, I'm starting to live. I still go through the motion from time to time, of course, because it's a process. It's not overnight. You're always going to be going through. But the fact is that as long as you keep going, just keep going. And eventually you're going to be further than where you were when you started. Dr. Sakina says, first have to acknowledge that you are in a dark place, and the glow process starts with healing emotionally, mentally, with applying spiritual disciplines that help you to mature spiritually. Yes and amen. Psalmist's voice says, Dr. ND's anointing is not the baby oil. It's the oil from the alabaster box. I'm done. Amen. Yes, it is. Trying to see where else did we go. Mama Rosa, Pastor Rosa says, self-evaluation is where we start after the dark place. Our yes to being part of what we realize is dark requires us to confront our willingness to be a part, even if we are immature. And Disciple Spencer says, glow comes with the work. And indeed it does. Indeed it does. This has been a great conversation. Again, when loved right, women glow. You never know what you're going to get here on Thursday nights with Lady Dorby. You just don't know. And you know why you don't know? Because sometimes we don't know. We do it here. We're flowing. It's what we do. Amen and amen. Angelo says, yes, ladies. And Psalms Voice says, you are more than you think and greater than you heard. I'm done. So I want to read this. I want to read this quote that I found, or definition that I found, and then I want to leave space for everyone to share their final comments, because we actually went through it. I didn't even have to ask the questions or put them out there because we all addressed them. The points of the conversation was, what does the statement, when a woman is loved right, she glows, what does that mean to you? We want you to think about what that means to you, and what are the attributes to your glow, because everybody's answer is going to be a little different. What attributes to you glowing, and whose responsibility is it for our glow? It is yours and yours alone. So a question was, what does glow girl mean? He said, glow girl. Said, what does that mean? And it means someone with a positive, vibrant energy. The glow every time you see them, and constantly keeps a smile on their face and everyone else as well. When you are glowing, this is what will happen, even if it's a little shine. Just make sure that you find that space within yourself to know that you are more than the dark place, and that you can glow. You don't have to stay where you are, but be prepared. Center yourself, or prepare yourself to get in a space where you can glow. Tap into you. So again, when you say glow girl, it means someone with a positive, vibrant energy. That's what we want to be. They glow every time you see them from the inside, and constantly keeps a smile. We smile through stuff. Just because everything is not going our way doesn't mean that we can't smile. It doesn't mean that it has to be a phony smile. It can be authentic, as it should be. Keeps a smile on their face and everyone else as well. Your glow affects those around you. And we pray that you would get in the company of other sisters and women who are glowing, so that if you don't know how to, they can help you learn. They can help you buff and shine your crown, and make sure that you are standing on your 2 feet before your life is over. So I want to leave final comments, leave space for the final comments for my sister girls. I'm going to go to my cuz first, and then I'm going to go to Lady Deshawn, and then we're going to do Dr. ND, and I'm going to bring you the final comments. So go ahead, cuz. Final comments.
I just want to say that, for anybody who is watching, whether you're just now figuring out through watching us what glow means, just encourage everyone to do the work to try to understand better of who they are, so they can be able to glow. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. That's what these conversations are about, are helping another sister know what it means to glow. Because if you glowing, I'm glowing. I mean, it's contagious, So I just want to encourage everybody in that effort. I appreciate you so much, Dawn, for having me on. Listen, you guys bless me. You guys, like you all sharing some things, it blessed my heart and me wanting to glow a little bit more, if I'm being 100% honest. So thank you all, ladies, so much for because you all poured into me. So I just wanted to say thank you. I love you guys. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm sold. I'm just sold. I'm sold. Thank y'all so much.
Don't worry. We see you next month. Don't worry. Come on, Lady Deshawn.
Final thoughts. I would have to say, positive vibes, but dig this, positive vibes with yourself. Take the time to really just be positive and love on you. Sit in the silence. Even if we keep talking about doing the work, going through the healing process, but sometimes just sitting in silence with no process, with no work to be done, is a start of something beautiful. It's a start of a love life with yourself, to be able to just love on you, love your own energy, love your own company, and figure out who you really are. Nothing to do with the process, nothing to do with healing, nothing to do with anybody else but you. Just love on you. Take the time.
Come on, Doc.
It's my turn.
It's your turn, boo.
It was, listen, I mean, we've done these a few nights tonight. It was such a privilege to have Malaysia. I said it right? I jacked it up. Dad.
Come
Hi.
on, say it for the people, cuz. Say it for
Come
the
on, say
people.
it because we gotta get it right.
Maisha.
Maisha, all right, I got it. I got it. I got it. Doggone it. I got it. So it was a joy to have Maisha here with us tonight. I'm looking forward to us having some more of these rooms. You truly did. Listen, you blessed me as well. You blessed me as well. So I know what to look forward for too when I get married again. Come on here, Black Jesus.
Hey,
Um,
hey.
what I will say is that if I have to leave with anything, I'll say that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have to start all over. When you start over, be kind to yourself, extend some grace to yourself, learn to love yourself from a place that you probably didn't even know existed, and stop learning to accept existing and learn to start living. Good night.
Well, all right, come on through. And I just want to be the flower girl when you get married again.
I'm telling you right now, let me be clear. I'm having a destination wedding because if
I
you
don't
ain't
care.
got no money to get there, and I'm not
Okay.
having a whole bunch of folks because I ain't got a whole bunch of friends like that. And listen, I just want to marry my boo and just have some great married sex and have my
Come
chandelier
on.
ministry.
Come
and
on.
that's
Come
it.
on, great married sex.
Great
Come on.
married sex. Because I've
Hey.
had unmarried sex and it has not
Mighty
been
God.
successful. So
Guilt free.
this
Guilt
has to,
hey.
there's got to be a reward somewhere in this. I'm just saying.
Hallelujah.
Yes, I'm just saying. All right.
Come on, there's a praise on the inside. Okay, I ain't gonna start. That I can't keep to myself. I'm just
See,
saying.
y'all
She'll
gonna start a
start
whole nother conversation. Y'all getting
right.
it
She'll
riled
start.
up.
I had to bring myself back. I'm sorry. I went left a little bit. I'm back now. All right. Because she said, don't worry, I'm gonna be there. So thank you, ladies, Dr. ND, cousin Maisha, and Lady Deshawn, always sharing the good and great information. Pray that you continue to like, subscribe, and share what we're doing here on Thursday nights with me, your girl, Lady John B. I appreciate each of you when you come out, when you spend the time here. You could be anywhere, but you choose to come spend it here. Well, now my final comment is this, and then I'm going to read something. That's just a drop the mic, lady. Well done. Free. Hallelujah. Indeed, I'm tapped in the sun. See, I'm trying to get me together. I'm trying because now she done said, okay. Right, because I'm trying to fix it, Jesus. So, I'll get back to my comment. Now, my final comment would be this. Loving you first is the main part of loving you right, or anybody loving you right. It has to start with you loving you first. Then after you love you first and you figure out what loving you first is about, loving you right is about, then you can teach someone else how to do the same. Until then, stay in practice of learning how to love you first. And I want to read this before before we end tonight. Well, let me lead this way. Join us next Thursday night at 7 p.m. We're going to be back on right here. Bring a friend. It's going to be the Redeeming Me segment. And the topic is it's actually about loving me. Self-love is what we're talking about. So it's a good space to end off on tonight about us loving ourselves first, starting there. We're going to talk about what it is to love ourselves, where we need to start, how we need to do it. What it looks like is different for everybody, but come and join us here. And then the following week, we are going to have the men's lounge. It's going to be on. Y'all don't want to miss it. I'm telling you, on the 15th, that is going to be the men's lounge coming in. And they are going to be talking about when loved right, men grow. And I'm telling you, don't miss it, ladies. Get your notebook and lean in. They're going to be telling some good nuggets on how we can help them grow, what we need to do about it. And it's not over yet, because the following week after that, we're going to be talking about When Loved Right. That's the theme of the whole month, When Loved Right. On the 22nd, we're going to be back here talking about love, marriage, and ministry. And I'm so excited because we got some married people in ministry coming on to talk and keep it real. Because, you know, some of us ladies, we want to be the first lady, but we don't understand that that's not the lady that you really think that it is, because you ain't marrying the preacher, you marrying the man, and them shoes is tight and they ain't as cute as you think that they are, because when he takes that robe off and he comes home, he's a whole different person, and you got to deal with
bad
him.
feet.
Okay? So I'm just saying, so come on and get the love, marriage, and the love and the marriage and the ministry part. Okay, then we are wrapping up February with we're gonna have an open mic poetry night. We're gonna talk about love. So get your good poem together. Come on, hit me up. Let's get you on in this space. All right, so mark those dates. Make sure you're here with us. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us on tonight. I'm going to end with this piece that says, she is a beautiful piece of broken pottery, put back together by her own hands, and a critical world judges her cracks while missing the beauty of how she made herself whole again. That is by J.M. Storm. So thank you for joining us for When Love Right, A Woman Glows. Love you all. Have a great night. See you next week.
So lethal, made Shane Black wanna write a sequel, cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Either we make up or just break up, with the snake hits, get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up if I don't shake me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle a lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got a question, keep pushing me to progression like I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best.